Hi everyone. Hello. This is Louis, Louis the Loser, coming at you with another episode, and I kind of missed my deadline for the day, but this will count as one, and there should be another one later on, like a while after this one's posted, because I'm trying to keep to my promise of an upload a day. Like I have to. If I miss a day, then I'll make up for it by putting out two videos, even if it's back to back. But just so y'all know. And in here, you're gonna get to see, like a little bit more of me that I don't show anywhere else. And I'll be honest, I haven't, I haven't told anyone specifically what this new channel is because I don't want people that know me to see this channel. If they come across it, that's a different story. That's more organic. But I don't want to tell them. No, I don't know. I'd rather somebody find this and say, hey, this is the beginning of this YouTuber or this channel, and it's something that I was there for. Mind you, I used to be a tobacco smoker, cigarette smoker, for like almost 10 years, which is crazy to think. I want to say like 7, going on 8, and then I switched over to, like, mind you, I was reluctant about it. Like, it was something that I thought was just a gimmick, and I was just gonna try it just to humor it. Let me explain the story. So this was, I want to say, probably sometime in February, where I had a buddy whose family owns a business, a little a shop type of business, like a mini mart kind of thing, and I always bought my cigarettes from that specific place because they had a specific brand that I liked. And not only that, but on top of being one of my favorite brand, like in terms of flavor and burn and all that, like I liked everything about it. The price was amazing. It was like $2 for 26, which is like, it's, if you know cigarettes, that's unbeatable, and the cigs would actually last a very, very, very long time. So it was just a win-win for me. Like, it was cheap, they lasted, they were actually good, and they were pretty, like, I won't say super strong. They weren't reds, but they had a good amount of strength in them. So anyway, I was doing my usual buy, and then my buddy starts telling me about, like, hey man, have you tried like vaping? And I told him, well, the truth, like, I've tried it before and found that it just wasn't for me. But mind you, when I tried it, it was back when it was kind of becoming, like, literally the beginnings of it. Back when, like, as far as from what I remember, I want to say like 2014 ish, like around there, like mid to late 2014. That was not even like the beginning of 2014. That was when the vaping thing kind of like really started. Not that that's where it got super, like, the super hype. It didn't get to that part yet, but like that was when it was like really barely starting. Trying, like, barely starting to creep up from, like, behind the scenes, so to speak. And I bought myself one of the first, like, gens of, like, the vape pens, with the wick in the middle, and like it worked, but like it just wasn't as good. Like, if you compare it to something now that you can get, like even a disposable vape that you can get now, like it's not even close to comparison. Like, the ones, even the cheap stuff now is nothing compared to, like, more pricier stuff back then. But anyway, my buddy tells me if I ever tried it. I'm like, yeah, I tried it and it wasn't my thing. And he's like, why don't you give it another shot? It's like, just, here's this disposable vape pen. It's like, it's just $20. Just try it. If you don't like it, then you don't have to buy it again. But I highly recommend it. It's really good. That's what my friend was telling me, that it was good. And so I go and I'm like, all right, I'll do it, man. Just because if you say it's good, it must be good. I trust you. And my friend usually is right about those things. So if he says it's good, it's got to be good. So I told him, dude, just pick out a flavor for me. I don't care which one, whichever one you think is the best flavor. And he picked out one that was like bubblegum ice. That's what it was called. It was like an Escobar type of that's the name of the brand of the vape pen, of the disposable vape pen. They're called Escobars, and yeah, bubblegum ice, and I swear, like, that thing was so good, like it wasn't even funny, and I got like a pretty good buzz out of that I don't even get from I never really got buzzes from cigarettes, so like for me it was always like it was related to other things that I'm not gonna mention, but yeah, it gave me like a light buzz, and I was like, this is kind of nice. Like it's not over the top. It's actually manageable, a manageable type of buzz, and like it doesn't linger forever either. But you smoke a little more and of the vape, you take a few drags. I mean, and then it kind of becomes a bit more lively, so to speak. While I'm here, yeah, I'm over here trying to be all vapey because, yeah, like I said, I quit smoking. And honestly, I really didn't think that I would actually like vaping would get me to stop. I've heard people saying that it helped them, and I didn't believe it one bit. I was like, this is bullshit. It doesn't work. But surprisingly, it worked on me, And like I said, ever since my friend introduced me to the that vape pen, the Esco bars, you know, it it really did change. I started getting into those, and then I started thinking like, oh, and then I met more people along the way that were telling me like, oh, have you tried like this brand, like Space Max? Space Max is good, and that's something a different friend of mine told me about. Is like, hey man, have you tried like, because I asked him like, hey man, you vape, and because it's one of those things like, hey, you just try to see what are other people into. And he was like, yeah man, I got this one. It's like, oh, I never seen that one. He's like, yeah, it's called Space Max. And he was giving it high praises, and I'm like, all right, I mean, why not, just try it. And I found it was like the same price as the Escobars, and so I tried it, and I liked it even more. Even more than the Escobars, and the Escobars were already good, but the Space Max just gave you a little something extra. And then through a process of just transitioning through, waving through like kind of evolutions of meeting the right people at the right time and striking up the right topic and all that, I ended up becoming a bit more knowledgeable of like at least the disposable vapes. The other types I'm still learning because recently bought this one, which is a MTL, or a mouth to lung piece. I mean, it has the DL, or direct to lung, bit, which, if, for all of you who don't know, mouth to lung basically means when you take a puff in or when you take a draw in, it kind of simulates more or less like a cigarette. Like it's not gonna give you a ton of smoke. It's just gonna give you a good amount of smoke. And direct to lung, it's more of those like the wider nozzles, like the let me show you, kind of like the wider nozzles where you just go and you take in the coil heats up the liquid that's in, and it's a specific mix of liquid that produces a lot of smoke. That's why you see a lot of vapes. Whenever people talk about vapes, they usually refer to the direct to lung devices that are like that blow out like plumes of smoke, like crazy thick amounts of smoke. And so yeah, this is like kind of a dual a little bit, but honestly, it's not really a direct to lung whatsoever. The coil won't allow that much smoke. If anything, it's just a mouth to lung. But again, I bought it specifically for the mouth to lung reason, to try to get like a bit of a draw in and get something a bit more concentrated. Because the direct to lung stuff, like, yeah, there's some that have nicotine, but they're not strong enough, and the ones that are strong enough just don't taste good at all because the nicotine kind of overpowers everything. With the mouth to lung, they have a different set of liquids, different kinds of liquids for this. So those the nicotine in those liquids is like it's very different than the nicotine in the other one. So all to say, I have the mouth to lung one, which is this one, and then the direct to lung one, which is another one that I do not have with me presently, have back in my place. But yeah, and I thought, hey, fucking try it. A lot of my, like some of my, a good amount of my buddies, they all vape, and it's like, hey, fuck it, right? and I'll tell you this much, it's helped me quit smoking. It really has. It's been like, I want to say it's probably like a little over 2 months, because I think I quit like sometime in February, like mid to late February. It's when I quit. So I've had a good amount of time. Sorry, I keep moving the camera. I've had a lot of time without smoking a cigarette, and I thought I would need it. My voice keeps cracking. And that's because I ain't no spring chicken. Not a super spring chicken. I'm still a spring chicken, just not a super spring chicken. But anyway, you know, I mean, personally, I knew that I wouldn't really get back to it because I believe that, you know, there's not really such thing as an addiction. Either you do something because you like it or you don't. You know, if you get addicted to something, then you're weak. That's my mindset. That's how I see things. You know, everybody else can have their own views, however they want. You know, I'm not gonna force you to see it my way, but the way I see it, if you get addicted to something, then you're a fucking weakling. All right. You know, for the people that say, "Oh, you can't quit smoking. It's hard. It's hard." It's like, it wasn't that hard. You can stop if you want. You just don't stop because you don't want to. The only exception in terms of addiction that I give is for like hard drugs like crack or heroin, where those are like the addiction level in those substances is completely on a different scope than just like nicotine or like caffeine. You know, I don't see them as the same level. Like nicotine and caffeine are like weak stuff. You know, it's like, hey, if you really want to stop drinking coffee or smoking cigarettes, you can stop. You're not gonna die. You're not gonna go crazy. As opposed to like, if you take heroin or smoke crack or something, you're screwed. And like you can stop, but it's gonna be painful. At least from, I don't know, from the movies that I've seen about crack addicts and heroin addicts, like apparently it's very hard, and also from the stories I've heard of people I've met over the years in different areas, like, you know, they all say like it's hard, you know, it's something you just can't give up as easily. I mean, you're lucky if you get help, like somebody that helps you, and by helps you mean like kind of restrains you in the room or something. You know, go to like a proper rehabilitation facility, and I think they'll like put you in a room and make sure that you can't move around too much until all the substance is out of your system. Or I don't know how they do it, but they have a very humane. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Humane, or like a way that's not crazy. You know, like a proper way to do things, proper protocol for this. But yeah, you know. Yeah. But it's kind of the journey, you know. That's kind of the journey you must take. I just think it's interesting how, I don't know, you just discover new things at random times almost. It seems pretty like to me it's interesting. You know, all the things that happen, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, when I bought this I spent a lot of money, not necessarily just on this, but like the process to get the right liquid, because I got the wrong one, or the wrong type. Like it was for this, but it was too strong. It was so strong it was disgusting, and I could not take it in. So that's like $22 I'm never gonna get back. And then I finally got the right liquid, and you know, it was just a lot of spending that I shouldn't have done. I really shouldn't have, because I'm pretty strapped for money as it is. You know, with bills coming up for me. I live on my own and stuff, so I pay my own bills. And yeah, like lately at work I haven't been getting a lot of hours, so yeah, I'm kind of screwed. I'm not gonna lie, I've been screwed. I've been kind of living paycheck to paycheck for pretty much a good while already. You know, trying to get whatever days I can get, and most of the time no one's giving any days, so sometimes I have to kind of, I don't know, I kind of have to rely on my luck in that sense. Like, okay, maybe like the last time I got a big help was a few weeks ago when I got my tax return. So that really helped me out, but it was more of a short-term solution, not a long-term one. Like I knew that like after about a month, then you know I'd kind of be back to square one. Where if I didn't get a lot of hours or many hours, I'd kind of be in a very bad situation money-wise. You know, I wouldn't have enough to pay like the bills at the end of the month or some during the month. You know, because I got different things, internet, rent, electricity, like utilities and all that stuff. And I mean, honestly, the two bills that eat away the most at what I earn is food, groceries in that sense, and gas. And especially now that gas is fairly high, it's and that's because for the most part I haven't really gone places because gas has been pretty expensive, and I'm trying to save what I can. If like unless I really feel like I want to go somewhere, like maybe hang out with my cousin or some friends, that's fine. But I can't do it all the time like I used to back when gas was under $2 or around $2. Now if I go, it has to be for a good reason. Not good reason, but like it has to count. It's not gonna be for a simple like 1 hour, 2 hour hangout. It's gotta be for like at least half the day. Otherwise, it's not worth the money spent. But either way, I think I've talked on for long enough. Hopefully, y'all stuck around with me, and yeah, that's uh that's one that's another day in the life of Louis the Loser. All right, I'll see y'all catch y'all losers later. Later.